Oh, the technical difficulties today. Do not have any visual. I don't know if we're on. Hello. Okay. Woo. Yay, we're on. Awesome. Please let me know if you can hear me and see me. My internet, I don't know, the technical difficulties are going to be crazy today. I am so happy to be here with you to talk about all things Mini Myo. A lot of people say that this is, something you can't quite do, and that children are really not for Myo if they're below the age of 5. But today we're going to challenge that concept. Alrighty, jumping right in, beyond my welcome, my highs, my hellos. I always tell you, I'm Carice Laguerre. I'm your Myo best friend, and I am here almost every week, just about every other week now, with some new live content, free lectures, because we're all about elevating to excellence. And we can only do that if we're constantly getting better and growing. And who needs a paywall in order to get ready to grow? None of us. So subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Follow me if you're watching on LinkedIn, comment, share, like all of that helps to expand the reach so that we can all be better because that is the end goal. Okay. Alrighty. Jumping in, I am losing my audio. There we go. Okay. Awesome. So you want to work with toddlers. Toddlers, that's a fun thing if you're a myofunctional therapist to be like, yay, I want to work with toddlers. Or if you're a parent watching and you're like, what exactly would a myofunctional therapist do with toddlers? I can totally get that. I'm a mom of 4. My kids had issues. I wasn't even really aware that they had issues at the time that they had the issues. I thought everything was normal, hunky dory, totally fine. And I think that's where we're going to hit a good point and stride within this particular lecture as to how you don't necessarily want to leave everything in the status quo. You want to make sure you're addressing and catching things early on so that you are not falling behind with your child or allowing that traditional nonsense of they'll grow out of it to settle in. I remember with my own children, I had one child in particular that I was extremely worried about. I'm worried about all of them, but I was extremely worried about. My oldest daughter had a lot of sleep issues, like every sleep issue under the sun. You name it, bedwetting every single night for 10 years. It didn't matter what we did. Like, oh, you can't drink 4 hours before bed. You're definitely going to the bathroom before bed. Like, get up if you feel like you have to go to the bathroom. Like, please do not wet the bed this night. Every single night, wet the bed for 10 years. On top of that, there was snoring, there was tossing and turning, falling out of the bed. She was sleepwalking. The sleepwalking is terrifying. The night terrors. She had all of the things. She did all of the things. And every single time I went to the pediatrician, and we went to the pediatrician a lot, I would ask about this thing, this sleep thing. And the one response I consistently got was, don't worry, she'll grow out of it. She won't be 15 and still doing this. What? Like, I'm supposed to just wait and wash sheets all the time and have like this chaos in my house and this nightmare where I don't even enjoy night times now because I know I'm going to wake up to a bed that is wet. I know I'm going to wake up in the middle of the night and she's sleepwalking and banging into things downstairs on a whole nother floor. Like, how did she get down there while she's sleepwalking? As a parent, it's kind of nightmarish. And you can only imagine that if people are in this day and age more aware than they were previously or more aware than they ever have been, that they'll grow out of it is really annoying because you understand that there are some things going on with your children that you don't want to wait for them to just grow out of. The drooling, there are kids who soak walking around all day, all through the preschool, open mouth, drool coming out incessantly. They're speaking and there's a lot of spit when they're talking. And it's to the point where even in preschool, like even other preschoolers know that that's not supposed to happen. And so sometimes you get your child as the 3-year old in the preschool who's kind of like the social pariah, which is really odd because they're all really like gross kids, honestly, for preschoolers. But you know something's wrong. How long do you want to wait for drooling to stop? You want to wait until they're 5? You want to hope that maybe in kindergarten they can start a myofunctional therapy program and maybe there's something you can do? Or do you want to address it earlier? The chronic congestion, knowing that the nose is blocked all the time, they're blowing their nose, you're trying to suck things out of their nose, you're doing all that you can to manage your life because life with toddlers isn't easy. You're trying to do this consistently day after day after day, and the days become really, really long. They're getting poor sleep, they're tossing, they're turning. Sometimes you're co-sleeping, and it's a nightmare to co-sleep with your toddler. And so they're tossing, they're turning, they're kicking you, they're pushing you off the bed. You might be sleeping in like the biggest bed you can imagine, a king size bed or a California king size bed, and you're scrunched off to the corner because your kid has been like rolling into you all evening. The loud snoring, sometimes the audible grinding, you can hear them wearing down their teeth. All your dentist is going to say, oh, totally normal. They're getting new teeth. Meanwhile, they're grinding down all the incisal edges, and you've got to just deal, right? Because all you've got is they'll grow out of it. Dental decay, oral habits that you can't get them to quit. You've tried everything. You've put hot sauce on that thumb, and that thumb will still be in the mouth. The kid will look at you like, I like it spicy. And you know very well that this is not something we want to just let go and let it keep happening. So, the number one thing that most people would say at this point is like, I got to try something. Let me get into some sort of appliance. Let me get into a dentist that is going to listen to me and believe me and is probably maybe a half hour, an hour, 2 hours away from my house that can give me something. Let me go get tooth pillow because that'll be the magical savior of everything. Let me do some myofunctional therapy. Let me do something. Something. And what we have is the contrasting information that exists for everything on the internet. So don't even feel like myofunctional therapy is special because it's not. But we have the contrasting information that, yeah, you could do all this stuff, but a lot of that won't work. Or you'll get the information that myofunctional therapy for toddlers, that's not a thing. You're not supposed to do that. That's called feeding therapy. And if you're doing that, it's a problem if you're not a feeding therapist, if you're not specialized in pediatric feeding therapy. Well, let me be the one to burst the bubble and say, well, myofunctional therapy as its whole, it's not a thing. It's really more evidence based, which means that we see things clinically, we have observations, we have experiences, but none of this is evidence based. I don't care what research you pull up, we still don't have high quality research for myofunctional therapy the way that it is done in the United States of America and frankly, most of the world. Brazil has a very, very structured high education, like postgraduate level education, where you can do it as a speech language pathologist. But that system doesn't exist outside of that space. And so what we have, especially when we reference things that are articles from other countries and articles that are more research based on structured, standardized systems, is not something that we could stand and hold a flag on. So if we're going to talk about myofunctional therapy for children under 5 not being a thing, we need to, with that same level of energy, talk about how myofunctional therapy above age 5 is technically not a thing. It's a pseudoscience. But there are lots of things that are pseudoscience that we all subscribe to. There are things such as yoga, meditation, so many things, Reiki. I could go on and on literally for days. We do so many things that have no scientific basis to it that who cares? Myofunctional therapy is just another step. It's just another thing. And logically, here we go back to that evidence base. Logically, it just makes sense. It just makes sense that there would be the need, if there are muscular deficiencies in strength and awareness, there would be a need to work that out, right? If I saw that I had a weak core and then I went and did exercises and worked out and really like developed my core, that makes logical sense. So why would we leave a child who is drooling or structurally otherwise not thriving in the critical growth period and stage? Why would we leave them hanging when we can do things that may involve food, but are not feeding therapy? Because for most of what you're going to do when you're dealing with this age group, you're going to have fun with them. We're going to have a great time. We're going to play games. We're going to make something that is otherwise very sit down, structured, boring, super fun, very enticing. And we're going to play. We're going to play and have a great time. That way, we can get those results. So we're not looking to change anything with their chewing, with their swallowing, with their feeding in any way, shape, or form. We are looking to create a solid foundation, a foundation upon which they can then take that and grow. And so let's all just be mindful that 90% of child's developmental brain function happens before age 5. So the brain is developing rapidly between 0 and 5. And we've got a lot of brain growth, and we've got a lot of neurological systems and cognitive awareness that we can tap into. So why not make it play, make it fun? Now they're starting to, in that 3 to 5 age range, starting to have better ways to communicate, better ways to participate, and better ways for them to be able to remember some of the things that are being input into this age stage. So we don't want to miss that group. But what we do want to be very clear on is that myofunctional therapy for a full program has its own set of goals. We're not touching those goals in any way, shape, or form. We're just hoping to create a solid foundation. So let's talk about the difference between a full myofunctional therapy program that could go on anywhere from 6, 9, 12, 18 months. Who knows? It can go on for a while. And all of that requires a commitment because your program is going to go into various stages. Stage 1, exercises. Everything you look on the internet for when it's about myofunctional therapy is about exercises. Everybody and their mom is going to tell you, ooh, myofunctional therapy exercises, they're the new hot thing. Great. It's phase 1. Okay. If you don't get into phase 2 or phase 3, you're wasting your time. Absolutely wasting your time. So phase 1 is where we start out with everybody. Phase 1 is where we're going to start and end with preschoolers. Okay. And there's some debate as to which age or what group. I know some people want like Myo Mini to be like ages 2 to 5. It could be whatever your child is developmentally ready for, but they have to be an active participant. If they're not actively participating, there goes that. Like you're not going to make any progress. So under age 5, we are working on tongue, awareness, and strengthening. A lot of times they may not be able to sustain lingual palatal suction. So lingual palatal suction, for those of you who might not be familiar with those, is that tongue to the roof of the mouth suction, the ability for these two to stay together, because proper oral resting posture, which you are not going to accomplish in a Mini Myo program dealing with preschoolers, because that's never the goal, but proper oral resting posture is the tongue lightly suctioned up to the roof of the mouth in its entirety from front all the way to the back. Okay. And we want the children to be able to start to gain that awareness and that strength and the ability to be able to hold a suction, to be able to achieve that. Because if you can achieve an active, high pressure, open mouth suction, then at rest, you should definitely be able to achieve a light suction. Will you go into that as far as like, are we creating neuromuscular reeducation in preschoolers? No, absolutely not. But you're more likely for them to have the ability to develop that more naturally on their own if they're actively working on these muscles and gaining that strength and awareness. Improve lip seal. So we want to do lip exercises, a lot of fun things. We're blowing bubbles, we're making popping sounds, clicking sounds, we're tapping the lips, we're filling them up with air, we're doing all sorts of things that are going to be fun and engaging. We're encouraging chewing. Now, that chewing, don't misinterpret that as far as like we're re-educating how they chew and how they masticate. We're not dealing with that oral phase of chewing. I'm talking about you're engaging the jaw for jaw stimulation through chewing with a device, such as an appliance, I should say, such as a myo munchie or a myo chew, or you might have a myo brace. You might be dealing with something otherwise if you are in early intervention or early interceptive orthodontics. And then early nasal hygiene. There are so many parents. I can't tell you how many parents. I've worked with a lot of parents. My husband and I were going through our lists, our EHR yesterday, 659 like people. It's wild how many people I've worked with, and I just really enjoy what I do. But I can't tell you how many parents have told me that they can't get their child to do nail hygiene. A lot of times I come in as like an outside person and I'm like, we're gonna clean our nose. It's gonna be great. We're gonna have such a great time. And that's exactly what happens. They expect it to be fun. They're a little less resistant. These are always the kids who are probably just like my kids who do better for their teachers. Like, the teacher's not mom, the teacher's not dad. I will do whatever the teacher says. I have to be good for my teacher. These are these types of kids. You come in and you start talking about nasal hygiene and we're going to clean our nose and we're going to spray it. And we just sniff it up like a flower. And, oh my gosh, wasn't that so great? And they're like, yeah. They really don't enjoy it, but they're doing it for you. And then it makes it so much easier for the parents to follow through and follow up, because then they're like, Miss Carice said that she's so excited to see a video of you cleaning your nose. Can we clean your nose? Yeah, of course. For Miss Carice, absolutely. Now they're in this daily cycle of nasal hygiene, and we've established something really new with a preschooler that they wouldn't have otherwise gotten into, right? So our preschool goals are entirely different from our age 5 and up goals. We're going to achieve significantly more with somebody who is cognitively able to participate in a plan with the duration that it does have. But these kids, they don't have that kind of attention span, okay? So when you're thinking of structuring a mini myo program, or if you're a parent and you're trying to figure out what do I look for in a mini myo program, well, one, it's not myofunctional therapy, and so you're probably going to be seeing this person 4 to 6 times maximum. Any more than that, you might as well invest in a full program, and your child isn't ready for it. So, like, probably don't do that. Okay. But 4 to 6 sessions, in that time, you can really create a solid foundation where you will achieve those goals. But you've got to stick to being under 30 minutes for each session. And I tell all the parents all the time, and they think it's funny until they see it in real life, where by that 30-minute mark, the kids are like, bye, Miss Carice. Like, they're ready. They're ready for you to go. They're like, I'm done with this. I don't want to do this anymore. Moving on. And so 30 minutes, that's about how long you have. And honestly, it really fits in with their attention span. And you'll notice that if you do work with a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old, and I'll talk a little bit more about my sessions in a little bit, but they are with you for a second and then they're on their own thing. They're in the world and the world revolves around them, quite literally in their minds. The world revolves around them. If they want to do something, they're going to do it. If they don't want to do something, they're not going to do it. You're not going to coax them into it. You're not going to make them feel guilty about anything. They don't have that level of empathy. Like, it's not happening. They don't think outside of themselves yet. So you're going to go in there, be really excited, you'll have their attention, and then they want to talk to you about their new dinosaur that they just got because they went to the museum and they learned all about dinosaurs. Awesome. I can't wait to learn about dinosaurs. Please tell me everything you learned about dinosaurs. I don't know. I don't know. I like dinosaurs. Well, what's your favorite dinosaur? I like the flying one. Ooh, the pterodactyl. They don't call it that anymore. It's really weird. There's like some other name for a pterodactyl, and I feel like my whole childhood has been ruined, but that's neither here nor there. So then they start telling me about this this pterodactyl. Oh, you know what's really cool? Giraffes have the longest tongue in the world, and giraffes can actually clean their ears with their tongue. Like, isn't that kind of cool and also kind of gross? Like, I can't reach my ear. Can you reach your ear? I can't reach it. You can reach it. It's like, oh, and now I've redirected, and we went back from where we were doing an active exercise to now we are talking about dinosaurs to then coming back into active exercises. So we have to be able to navigate that 30-minute window in the most effective way. And so 30 minutes needs to be where you stop. I don't care what you're trying to accomplish. If you've only accomplished one exercise in 30 minutes, that's it. That's what you've got. Like, let it be, let it go. Otherwise, you're going to create a negative experience for myofunctional therapy in that child's mind. The parent's going to hit a lot more frustration, and it's just not going to work out. And I would much rather they have every 30-minute experience in the 4 to 6 sessions being as positive as possible than for it to go awry in another way. Okay. So what happens in that time? A lot of fun, like the most fun. You're just really going to obsessively have fun with these kids. And I think that the best part of my job is when I get to do those mini myos and I go into people's homes, because that's how my myofunctional therapy business is structured. And I bring games and we do fun things. There are things that you can get, things that you can buy. I have little portable games, like little portable outdoor games where I have like a beanbag toss. And so I'll bring that sometimes. And every new exercise that you do, or if you do a repetition, like, can I see you make a clicking sound with your tongue? You think you can hold it up there for 2 seconds? Awesome. Great. Here's your beanbag. Throw it. What are you going to throw it at? And there's little animals on the beanbag toss, and it's this cute little portable thing. But we're really just having fun, and like they're making scores or points or throwing things or showing me their favorite animal, and or they're bouncing, and we're having a really, really great time. And that's all that's really happening, is that parents are paying for you to have a fun time with their child while they learn something new. But it's not going to be structured. I want you to expect to go in with the least amount of structuring possible. Go in with no expectations. If you go in and you're very clinical, or if they come to you and it's a super clinical experience, I can't imagine anything more boring in my life, much less if I was 2, 3, or 4 years old. I would think that this is the worst thing that's ever happened, and I would go kicking and screaming into every single session. So don't try to make it structured. Don't imagine sitting down in one spot and like doing all of this. Make your environment as opening, welcoming, and fun as possible, and you're more likely to get them to open up and to blossom for you. Now, I don't have a fun, welcoming environment because, well, I do. Like, I have an office here. Don't get me wrong. But for my mini myo, I do in home, and I do it for really all of my ages and stages. I go into the homes and work with adults. But their environment is really just their environment. Like, they're comfortable, they're home. And so because they're home, whatever room they want to be in is where I'm working. A lot of times I wind up on living room floors. I wind up on playroom floors a lot more than you would imagine. I wind up in bedroom floors. And, you know, when they're in their space, this is their room, this is their whatever. Hey, do you want to see this? Or hey, do you want to do that? Or hey, whatever, whatever. We just have fun. And I just try to redirect and restructure as much and as often as we can. So we're going to have fun. I want you to make sure that when you're giving them exercises, I will play this video in just a little second. This is just a little video off my Instagram page. I've been terrible at my Instagram lately because I have just no time for it. I've been overwhelmed with business, and I'm super, super grateful for that. But it's going to show some exercises and like how you can adapt things to make them fun. But you're going to take your exercises, and I want you to break them down into very, very simple steps. No more than 3. So if you have something where it requires like 5 steps, so like grab a mouth prop, put it in, lift your tongue up high, touch the roof of your mouth, draw a number, bring it down, like, that's way too much. Like, we're not doing any of that. Okay. So it needs to be like, hey, can you open your mouth really big. Step 1, open, ah. Step 2, we're gonna lift our tongue up high. Our tongue's gonna be high, 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 high in the sky. It's going super tall. Ooh, great. I love it. You're touching the top of your mouth. That is awesome. Really, really good. Okay, we touched it up. We touched it up high. We're going to hold it there for 5 seconds. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, you did it. That was so awesome. I can't believe high fives are like the best thing in the world. But I can't believe you did that. That was really, really amazing. You think we can do it again? And you always pose it as a question, and everything is always up to them. If they're like, no, we can't do it again. All right, fine. Can't do it again. I thought you could, but I guess your tongue's not strong enough to go again. And sometimes that works. Other times they're like, yeah, it's not strong enough. Okay, cool. Well, we'll talk about something else, redirect, and we'll bring ourselves back and you'll do it again. But it will be that kind of finessing. But it needs to be no more than 3 steps, and you need to be able to outline each of those 3 steps, and they need to be able to follow each of the 3 steps, and then the parents need to be able to reiterate those 3 steps. So first step, open big, ah, we're going to lift our tongue up tall, ah, and let's say it's not touching yet. Okay, we want to lift our tongue up tall, we're going to touch and hold. That's step 3 now. Touch and hold. Great. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Woo! You did it. Fun. Sometimes you can use food as rewards and motivation. So when I say that we're using foods, it's not in the same way as feeding therapy. What we would do is we might take honey, Nutella. Everybody has allergies, so you got to be really careful. And because I go into people's homes, like everything that's in their home is already safe for their child to eat. But honey, peanut butter, Nutella, something sticky that will stick up there. Jam, sometimes we've used in the past, marmalade. You want to get something up there and say, hey, can you reach that with your tongue? A lot of times they're going to close their mouth and just do whatever they got to do to reach it. But no, can we open big, put the peanut butter there, stay open, okay? The peanut butter's there. Now can you reach it? Like step 3 is reaching it with the peanut butter, reaching it with the tongue, I'm sorry, to get the peanut butter. So you want to break it down into steps. Use food where you have to. If I want the tongue to protrude and they really don't want to protrude the tongue, or they want to lateralize the tongue, we might take food like, let's cut up some strawberries. That's your favorite snack, right? We're going to cut up some strawberries. Mom's going to hold a strawberry here, and I want you to touch the strawberry. We're going to get the strawberry there, and I want you to touch the strawberry. Like, we're going to engage them in the movement that we want using the food as some sort of motivation or enticement, and a lot of times as reward, because afterwards, yay, who doesn't love food? I will do a lot of things for food. I love food. Illustrate all your goals in a way that is fun, just like how I had described before earlier. The giraffe. I'm always talking about the giraffe because it's in my logo. And so it's easy for kids to just quickly grab onto and relate because they see it everywhere. Sometimes it's on my clothes, it's on my bags, it's on my phone, it's on everything. So the giraffe might be like, okay, we're trying to get our tongue to be as long and strong as a giraffe. And how can we get it to be long and strong? We're going to stick it out all the way and we're going to, I don't know, lift it up, whatever we're trying to do. But I'm going to illustrate it in a way that is fun. So I'm going to bring it back to something that they can identify with. Ants, if they really are into bugs and they have like the ant house, what are those things called? You know what I'm talking about, ant farm. And they have an ant farm, bringing it back to the ant farm. Ants, did you know ants are super strong and they can lift things that are much more than its weight, whatever. Let's see how strong your tongue is. We're going to put it in our cheek. I want you to press really, really hard. Press against my finger. Push it away like the ant would be pushing the food into the ant farm. Push, 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 push. So you're just going to make it fun. You're not going to be boring. We want our tongue in our cheek, and I want you to push as hard as you can. But yeah, make it fun. Make it more engaging than even that. And allow yourself time to have breaks because everybody needs a break. Sometimes mentally, I need a break. Dealing with toddlers. I'm like, okay, I've had enough of your energy, little Billy. We've got to, take a second. Let's take a break. And then we come back to it. Okay. Super fun. Very engaging. I hope this video will play. I think it's going to. Or no, do I actually have super simple tools and simple things. And you could do really, really fun and engaging things that are going to, get them to have a good time. My sessions, because I do mobile therapy, and I told you that like, I don't know, 8 times already today, I go into their homes. And so I come with a prize bag, and my prize bag is no joke. And I've had several parents say, like, you give out the best prizes. Like, they really look forward to you coming. They have a PT or an OT that comes to the house, and they come with prizes, but they come with like little prizes. You come with like the big stuff. I do like my prize bag. My prize bag is fabulous and great. I try to spend as much money as I can reasonably on my prizes. That way it's really enticing. So they're excited for me to come. They're excited to work for the prize, and they leave feeling very, very rewarded. They don't leave feeling like, oh, I got a little trinket that I don't care about. They leave feeling like, oh, I got the new Hot Wheels monster truck that color changes, and I can't wait to go throw this into the pool and see what color it's going to change into. Because I've had that happen right after a session. But whatever. So I come in with the prizes. I introduce myself if it's the first time. I've got my prize bag. I'm so excited. I'm Miss Carice. I can't wait to play with you today. Like, I really, really heard, I'm really, really excited to play with you today because I heard that you have a very special tongue. Like, you have the most special tongue, and tongues are my thing. I really, really, really love giraffes, and giraffes, yada, yada, yada. I've already told you my fun fact about giraffes. So, what's your favorite animal? I like elephants. Awesome. Elephants are really big. They stomp, stomp, stomp. Can I see you stomp, stomp, stomp? And we stomp, 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 and like your elephant. And yay, awesome. So you think we can play today? Almost always. Yes, absolutely. Where do you want to play today? We're going to play, I don't know, wherever. The living room floor. Okay. Awesome. Well, I brought this cool bag of things for you, and it's always like a little kit full of things. And in the kit would be, first of all, there's always, for the Mini Myo, baby's first toothbrush. If you guys don't have that, you need that. Secondarily, I really love the Myo Chew. I'm a Myo Chew girl. Myo Munchies, all right, but I really like the Myo Chew. I think for me, it just works a lot better. Now, I have the Myo Chew, and I would have that in the bag. But before I would ever introduce that, I'm going into baby's first toothbrush. And baby's first toothbrush, why? Because it's literally like half. It's a smaller version of, instead of you trying to shove this thing in your mouth, now you get this little half piece that you can handle and just sort of get the feeling for. Okay. Those are super cheap. I don't mind buying those. And the fact that those kids use them maybe once, probably twice. Only the kids who are like super oral sensitive and like are not going to put this in their mouth at any time in the near future. That's when I would introduce my, baby's first toothbrush as the only thing, and then leave this as like, okay, we'll deal with this second. That way they have a little something that they can start to get into. And so I'm bringing chewing in right away. Like, chewing happens day one. Identify their needs very, very quickly. Doing a full evaluation on a toddler or on somebody who you are not going to do a full program with is kind of ridiculous. That's my opinion. Nobody's going to change that. Okay. There's no need for you to go in there and like start asking them to do certain things or moving certain ways or whatever, where you have no intention of fixing that, because we're not going after the full myofunctional therapy goals. So I will identify needs quickly. If I've been talking to you through the time I come in the door, I introduce myself, I introduce the prizes. We have stomp, stomp, stomp like an elephant, or we've roared like a lion, or whatever your favorite animal is. And then I've introduced you to this Chewy, and all I see is drool coming out. Your mouth has never been closed. Your nose is dripping with snot. Your cheeks look super cute and adorable and fluffy, but I know that they're flaccid. If I see the teeth are super crowded, or like the tongue is low, forward, open mouth, drooling, oof, I know exactly what we need. Okay. So at that point, I'm identifying what they need. The tongue is low and forward. I need to work on tongue strength. I need to get the tongue in to engage in suction. I don't need to work on any protrusive exercises. Why would you work on protrusive exercises if the tongue is protruding? You want to work on retractive exercises, right? So I know what I need to work on. I know I need the cheeks. I know I need the lip strength, and I know I need nasal hygiene. Like, these are the things I know I need right away. Every time I come, I'm reassessing what that is. So I will identify what the needs are for that particular time as we're going along. The parents will tell me along the way, oh my gosh, like the mouth is closed more often. Like, look, it's closed right now, like whatever. And so I'm getting feedback also to know that what we've done previously is coming together, and then I have new needs to identify. But 30 minutes, you're on a time clock. You don't have time to sit down and do an evaluation with a toddler that you're not going to do a full program with. Like, that's crazy. It's absolutely bizarre. I don't know who's teaching that. I hope they're not teaching that. You need to stop teaching it. Okay. So introduce 2, maybe 3 active exercises. I consider the Myo Chew, the Myo Munchie, or even the baby's first toothbrush and chewing on that to be all passive. These are passive exercises. These are passive things that you're really not going to do a whole lot with. And then afterwards are exercises that we're going to move on from, because the Myo Chew or the Myo Munchie will be on your homework sheet every single time we meet. Okay. So I introduce those exercises, and it happens intermittently. So just like I said, we get into a little bit of fun and we take breaks, and, one exercise, then we redirect, then we get another exercise, or we review the first one if I feel like we didn't get into it deep enough, or there's not the competency in understanding what it is we're supposed to be doing. So 2 to 3 exercises. Then we review it all. You ready to show mom? Sometimes the parents just let me have at it. Sometimes the parents are in the corner of the room and they're kind of half paying attention because they're on their phone. Sometimes they just let me have at it. They walk out of the room and the kid is just fine and comfortable, and maybe they're on the other side of the wall just listening in. But I'm like, you ready? Let's call mom in and let's show her what we've been working on. You ready? Let's call dad in, show them what we've been working on. And so we show them and like, oh, look, I could do this, do this, or like, oh, let's show them. And then I'm guiding them. Let's show them we made popping sounds with our lips. How did we do that? And then they're going to do it. And it's really, really fun, super engaging. We celebrate. The parents are excited. Yay, you did really good. I'm excited. I'm thrilled. You did fabulous today. Like, you were the best person I've seen today. I have no idea how many best people I've seen in every single day, but you were the best person I've seen today. You have the strongest tongue. You are super strong and fit and fabulous. And I think you've earned a prize. Is it prize time? They're always excited for prize time. Yay, it's prize time. Awesome. I'm going to take time then to, let them pick their prize. A lot of times, every single kid dumps out the entire bag to look through like what prizes they want. I don't know. I'll never understand that. But as they're doing that, I'm chatting with the parent really quick. Like, okay, so the exercises, you're going to do 3 of this, or you're going to do 4 of this, or you're going to do whatever. Or you're going to play this game one time over, twice a day, whatever. So I'm giving them that. I'll send you the homework sheet by the end of the day. Next appointment will be in 2 weeks, yada, yada. Make sure that you're like actually taking the time to do this, but intermix it with fun and da, 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 da. If it's not the first time and like they're already aware of all of this, then my parent discussion is really like, how have things been going? Oh, good. Or they really like to do this one, but they don't like to do that exercise, and like whatever. Like, okay, I love it. I love it, love it, love it. You're doing a great job. Just like, take it day by day. Take it day by day. That's all you can do. Okay. Don't beat yourself up. You're a fabulous parent and they're lucky to have you. And I genuinely believe that deep in my soul. Any parent that is investing in myofunctional therapy for their preschooler is so blessed to have that person as a parent. And then I see them in 2 weeks. Okay. So I don't know what everybody else's myo sessions look like with children in this age group, but it's really just fun. It has absolutely nothing to do with speech or feeding therapy. It's really just us engaging in active exercises that are going to help with salivary management, the tongue and being low and forward, the lips and being open, the lack of nasal hygiene. Like, we're just helping with very simple things. None of it is building up to us establishing proper oral resting posture, but it is building up to strength and the ability to potentially in the future future need less with regards to myofunctional therapy, or hopefully not need it at all. Okay. Treatment planning. I've gotten lots of questions about treatment planning for the little ones. Don't. Just don't. 4 to 6 visits, you'll kind of see which families are really doing well and which kids are really thriving with it and which kids are not. And that's the extent of your treatment planning, to be totally honest. I don't think it makes sense to do a full evaluation on a toddler. You can do one. If you're going to do one, what should be your goals? Whatever the kid wants to do that day. If you go in with a plan with a toddler, you are guaranteed to fail every time. Every time. You have to be ready to pivot, to move on a dime. You have to be ready to take whatever it is they present to you and you have to throw it back at them as this is how we're redirecting to get back into an exercise, because I am here for business. And never with that attitude, of course, but you just have to keep that in mind, that you are here not just to play with the child, but to accomplish a goal, right? So you're there and you're doing what you're supposed to do, and you take breaks in between because the child does cognitively need those breaks. Their attention span does not facilitate us doing 30 minutes straight through. Let's break it down into chunks. I think that when you try to treatment plan too far ahead with the toddlers, you wind up just not reaching your goals. Because how can you reach your goals when the world revolves around them? It doesn't revolve around you and what you want to do. It revolves around them. So if you weren't planning to use food that day and you wanted to use a mouth prop or you wanted to whatever, and they're really hungry or they're crying because they didn't get a cookie, that happened one time. We didn't get to start till 15 minutes in because I got there and this kid was livid, so mad, the biggest of tantrums that he did not get a cookie prior to me coming in. So I walked in and already upset. Okay, well, I brought my prize bag. He doesn't care. He wants that cookie. Mom's like, you're not getting a cookie. Carice is here. Please play with Miss Carice. I don't want to play with Miss Carice. I want a cookie. The biggest of tantrums. And then when it was finally like, okay, well, bye. I really wanted to play with you today, but I don't think I can. It's like, no, don't let Miss Carice leave. Well, then you got to stop crying about this cookie. Rationalizing with a 3-year-old is really, really bizarre. But I was not intending to do anything with food that day. I was intending to come in and, we were on visit 4 or 5. So we had already accomplished a lot of things that I could do with food. So I just had to think light and be on my feet and be quick and ready and steady. And now we're doing something that involves food, because guess what he really wants? A cookie. And so we're not going to use a cookie. We will use something still sweet. Mom, can you cut us up some strawberry? We're going to do something with the strawberry. Or, hey, can you put some honey into this medicine cup? And we're going to eat honey, and we're going to do it with only our tongue in this medicine cup. And so that's what we're going to do now, because now my focus is to push us forward while still being able to engage in the way that this child would like to engage. They want something sweet. They want the food. And so how do I make the most of my 15 minutes I have left? So treatment planning with toddlers, I think, is absolutely absurd. You haven't worked with enough toddlers if you feel like you can treatment plan with them. And I don't even work with them in a clinical environment, to which many other people do work in a clinical environment. Like, I'm working with them in their homes and I have to be able to pivot on a dime. I can only imagine that in a clinical environment where they may not feel comfortable all the time, where it's not super familiar, or where they're going to be disinterested and want to focus on something else, that you've got even more pivoting to do. So don't anticipate treatment planning. Anticipate looking at them, seeing what's your main issue that day. If they are still drooling and you've been seeing them for 4 or 5 sessions already, and they are still drooling, well, now it's time for you to really hone in and focus on that and get it to the best of your capability to deal with, the cheeks, the suction, and so forth. Make that your objective and your goal. But don't go in with a plan. Don't try to treatment plan. Don't try to sequence, because this is not myofunctional therapy. It is just a mini program that is going to help build a solid foundation for these children. And that's what this is. We're establishing a solid foundation for enhanced strength and awareness of the oral facial musculature to promote healthy growth and development. Because, in this age group, yes, the brain is developing rapidly. 90% of that brain development is done by age 5. But we also have their craniofacial development, that skull and all of that growing, and that's happening there. They still have at least 50% below the age of 5, at least 50% of craniofacial growth and development still to come. So while some have closed, while some of the growth is, you can't really tap into it, you still have a lot more growth potential, and several other sutures that have not fused as of yet that you can optimize. And so you want to work in this age group, as challenging as it might be, as scary as it might be. You want this age group. And as parents, you want it because you start that foundation where you can break that habit of they'll go out of it and start getting into the better habit of we're going to intervene and we will change the trajectory of it. That, I think, is the real value of Mini Myo. So if anybody tries to tell you that you can't do it, that it doesn't exist, it's not a thing, I want you to look right back at them and say myofunctional therapy isn't a thing. So if I could do that, I can do anything else. And it's not feeding therapy. You really are the person that they can rely on and go forward with. As children, there's just so much growth and development that you need to capitalize on. I genuinely believe it. It's one of the best things that I do in my job and my career. If you're looking to learn more, okay, I know this is like the want. Everybody's like, oh, time. If you're learning to learn more, and you are a parent, there's a Myo Mini course, an email course. You get 5 weeks, over the course of 5 weeks. You just, in your internet browser, type in bit.ly/Myo Mini, and it will pop up to a blog post where you can read more, you can learn more, you can click on some research to understand how all of this comes together. And for only $7, that's it, total cost, not $7 an email, not $7 a week, $7 all in, fully vested, you could get the Mini Myo course, which has so many games. I think there's over 25 games, exercises, like fun things that you can do with the children. If you're a professional and you want access to these same exercises, like the fun exercises, I want to say there's over 35 in the course of like how you can make the exercises more fun, how you break them down into those 3 steps. Like, what are the fun names, the fun titles, the fun ways you can deal with it. There are games, there's resources, and much more education about the developmental stages of children between 3 to 5 and then 5 to 10, and the difference of Myo and how you can make it fun for all of those age groups. If you're looking for that, the Myo Stages course, I will put the link in the description of this video after the video is already published. If you have any questions, always feel free to reach out to me. I am available and I'm here pretty much all the time. You could always find me on the internet, okay? All right, ready? Question. I have parents using nasal hygiene, saline, but 3-year-old has spontaneous nosebleeds. Ideas to help. Is the room humidified? Like, do they have a humidified room in the evening? I think the humidifier might be part of what might be lacking there, particularly for the nosebleeds. The spontaneous nosebleeds, are they just during the day? Oh, they use the humidifier. Okay. And is it just during the day or does it happen at night? Using nasal hygiene. Sometimes that nasal breathing might be part of the issue. And so sometimes it might be creating more irritation. But if this is happening just during the day and it's spontaneous nosebleeds, I would go to an ENT because there could be something much deeper going on. If it's nighttime, you might want to adjust the humidifier and or adjust the time that you're using that nasal hygiene, because the saline or the saline, whatever rinse you're using, that might not be it. You might want to use something different to clear out the nose. You can use like the gel, the AYR brand Air. They have a nice gel that you can put in instead. Sometimes there are aromatherapy. Green goo makes a really good one where it's like it's not a gel, but it's like a little paste, and you can just paste around the nose and they get that like a vapor, almost like the Vicks in a way. They get the vapor of that, and that helps to clear out the nose as well with that same peppermint sort of issue. So, very good question. I think that was awesome. Thank you for that. Okay, it was such a pleasure being here with you all. I look forward to seeing you again at the next video. Everybody have a fabulous week. Bye, friends.